All right. Hi, everybody. Good to see everybody here on Kind Soups. Today we are making Spanish Garbanzo Stew slash soup. And I hope you'll enjoy making it today and sharing it with whoever you want to share it with. And uh, remember to give us your stories online of where it goes. And we will dive right in. Deb, do you have anything that you want to say before we start cooking?
No, just welcome
All right.
everybody. Good to see your
Yeah.
beautiful faces in my kitchen today.
Yeah, sure is. Does anybody have any burning questions as you do your prep before we get started? I know this one's a little bit different. If you read the notes to the recipe, I don't own a mortar and pestle. I had to even look up how to say pestle. And for those of you who are wondering, it's pestle. So I'm going to use today a food processor to make the thickening ingredients, which is mixing the the toasted baguette bread with the eggs. I tried a blender last time and there just wasn't enough liquid, didn't work well at all, but I think the food processor will do the job. Let me know as we go along if you're going to be using the mortar and pestle, because I would love to see how that goes. I think the idea there is even more rustic flavor and texture because you're not pulverizing it. So I'm going to try to go not too strong on the food processor for that. Oh, there we go. Yvonne's got her mortar and pestle. Awesome. We'll wait and see how that turns out.
So
yeah,
Denise, when you do, can I ask a question? I'm sorry.
Sure.
When you do the baguette and the in the food processor, isn't it just making breadcrumbs?
Exactly. And I was thinking of that too. I think you could go straight to panko if you wanted to, if that's what you had. I wouldn't buy a baguette just for this. As a matter of fact, I have some leftover sourdough sliced bread that I'm going to use because I think it's totally not in the spirit of this peasant recipe to go out and buy a baguette and have half of it left over. That's just not the way, that would have been done. So yeah, any kind of bread product, I think breadcrumbs would be great. And the eggs, they give a really interesting texture. I'm going to do what I did last time and fry them, flip them over, and so that they get the egg yolks get cooked, but the egg white doesn't get too rubbery too fast. But there are going to be pieces of cooked egg white in the soup, so kind of be prepared for that. I'm still kind of thinking about if I would do it any differently going forward, but that's what the recipe calls for. So anyway, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but think about that. If you have any ideas on how to do that thickener any differently, let me know. It was definitely not unpleasant to have the little egg pieces, but it's a little unexpected for me in there. So I only made it once. So yeah, anyway, I've got my oil heating up. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the chopped onion and peppers and garlic. And by the way, with the garlic, the recipe kind of calls for splitting it up between that thickening step and the onion and peppers. I'm going to go ahead and put all the garlic that the recipe calls for now. It's all going into the same pot, and I didn't see the point in that. So, but you can do it either way.
Is the oil divided half and half? I haven't read the recipe.
Yeah, it is. They say
so it's 8 tablespoons.
Yeah, and you may or may not need 8 tablespoons the second time around. I think the next time we use it is to fry the eggs. So you probably don't need even that much.
Okay, I'm also planning to use just egg instead of real eggs.
Okay.
Have you tried it with, plant-based eggs?
I have not. That would be interesting because it would probably give it a different texture, and maybe you'd avoid those little pieces of egg whites that I was
So
thinking
you
were a
won't,
little
yeah,
odd.
because it's all yellow.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll give it a different texture for sure. All right, so I'm just going to set my timer so I don't lose track here. About 5 minutes for the bell peppers, onions, and garlic. Did anybody grate tomatoes for the first time for this, like I did? That just amused the heck out of me. I don't know why, but you know, grating it and getting, you didn't. You get basically crushed tomatoes that they look like crushed tomatoes from the can, and you can end up with the skin pretty intact. And the rest of it goes into the you know, the crushed tomatoes. It worked out pretty cool. I don't know that I would ever do it again unless I needed something. I would think maybe for bruschetta, if I had some really beautiful tomatoes. Yeah, I don't grow my own tomatoes, so it's kind of lost on me to take that effort for them. But if I had some lovely tomatoes, I would think that would be really nice, especially for a dish where the tomatoes don't get cooked. But today what I've done is, since I had that experience once and I didn't really need to repeat it with 5 or 6 tomatoes, I've got a can of crushed tomatoes, and I'm using the fire roasted to get a little bit of extra flavor.
I wanted to remind people while I'm thinking of it, since I know I'll forget to say anything later on, if you actually do use eggs, you'll have to write that on your label. There are people who have, that's an allergy for many people.
Thanks, Marjorie.
Can I ask about the eggs? How do you cook them? Or what, you just scramble them?
So I fried them. Let's me go back
It
to the
doesn't
recipe.
say, just says cook.
Ah, okay. I think I'm going by the video, the original video where it's a YouTube recipe originally, and I believe they were fried.
And then you just pulverize them in a mortar pestle, right?
Right, along with the toasted bread. Yeah.
My confession is that I did absolutely no preparation, so I probably will still be chopping by the time all of you are finished making your soup.
It's
Especially
a heavy
mincing 2 heads
chopping
of garlic.
recipe. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of prep on this one. But the good news is once that's done, it goes together pretty well, pretty easily.
Actually, this might be the perfect time to use the frozen garlic, the Derote garlic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm using jarred chopped garlic. I do most of the time. And my veggies have gotten pretty soft. It's been about 5 minutes, so I'm going to add in the crushed tomatoes that I have.
Don't put the pan on the stove and forget it's heating.
Oh yes. Especially with just oil in it, right?
Yes.
So we just stirred together the tomatoes along with the onions and peppers for a minute or two. I made a note about paprika too. This recipe was interesting because it called for sweet smoked paprika, which to me is jumbled up, but I've always thought it was either or. I know in my cabinet I have sweet Hungarian paprika and I have smoked paprika, and they're very different. I have made some soups that I didn't like very much when I put too much of the smoked paprika in, because to me it's very strong. So I would, it's was it 4 teaspoons? I would use just whatever combination you like. You can't go wrong with 4 teaspoons of the sweet paprika. If you like it smoky, just whatever proportion you like. I think I used half a teaspoon of the smoked paprika and the rest sweet, but you guys may be a lot braver than me. I'm going to go ahead and add the chickpeas and the potatoes now.
Still peeling garlic.
Paprika goes in here too. And you can either add a bit of salt and pepper or hold off a bit on that. You want to see how how salty your broth makes it.
Would it be possible to see what you're doing, to have the camera? So we can
Let me
see what it
see.
looks like?
Should be able to.
I'm interested also, how finely chopped should the onions be? Should they be chunky or like, you know, maybe as fine as you would put in a food processor?
Yeah, that's a good question, because when I first made this recipe, I did it by hand because it wasn't as much. And the recipe does call for rough chopping. But to me, if I'm going to have it on a spoon, you know, in a soup, I don't like it as chunky. So the Hollywood, yeah, that looks great. I think you just go by what you'd want to have come up on a spoon, you know.
Right, and we're going to saute it so it'll soften up and.
True.
Yeah.
I am, for some reason, and I don't know if it's because we're recording, it's not my my account. I'm having trouble. I don't get anything. Do you know, Deb, if I can get to reverse my camera on this? I'm not having the only thing I can do is see, I don't know. Can you see anything if I do that?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
that's great. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Perfect.
no problem.
Yeah, I don't know about reversing a camera. I've never seen that as a Zoom function.
Actually, it's on my iPad. It says switch camera on the upper, this side.
Are you using an iPad, Denise?
I am. And you know what? I just dropped it and the option came up and it went away. I don't know how to get it back.
So maybe
how's that for professional?
touch the screen, it may pop back up. Okay.
Yeah, I was touching the screen. I'll have to experiment with it in a second. All right, so I've got the chickpeas in here, combine them, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the vegetable broth and some bay leaves. I'm also trying something a little bit different with this batch in that I saved some of the bean liquid. Now that they call it aquafaba these days, I always feel bad throwing it out. So I'm like, I'll use some of that instead of broth. We'll see what it does. Bringing up the heat a bit and get that boiling. And I have 3 big bay leaves in there. So if I forget later on when I'm digging out my bay leaves, somebody please tell me to look for 3 of them. Always my fear. All right, once this boils, we're going to cover it and let it go for about 25 minutes on a simmer. And that's when we'll start on the eggs and the bread. While this gets to a boil, I'm just going to take out a fry pan.
Denise, can I ask you a question about those eggs and bread?
Sure.
So here's what I'm tempted to do, because the whole thing about frying it doesn't make sense to me. I imagine that it would be far more delicious if I did what the actual chef tells us to do. But what I kind of want to do is take a couple eggs, beat them up, put some breadcrumbs in it, let it absorb some of the eggs, maybe put some garlic in there too. And then that's my thickener. And why do I need to fry it at all?
I really like that. Yeah. I like that idea.
Having been through it, you don't think I'm going to lose out on too much to do it this way?
No, I think that as long as you get that egg fully cooked, I think it calls for, once it simmers for 25 minutes, that soup's going to be ready. And then when you add the thickener, it says cook for another 2 minutes. So maybe you go another minute or two longer.
Yeah.
Because you have the eggs in there.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I think that would be great. I'm
Okay.
wondering how I can adapt it to try something other than what I'm thinking of is when I was a kid, my mom would give me a poached egg mixed with bread.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking, but then you'd still have to somehow pre-cook the egg to get that.
Denise, couldn't it be kind of like an egg drop soup? Like you're just whisking it in, even if you've mixed it with the breadcrumbs, if you then whisk it into the soup, you're still going to get the cooked pieces of egg, but there won't be like fried bits of egg in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like fried eggs.
Yeah, it'll probably, I think,
soup.
I'm sorry, what's that?
It would kind of swirl around, but it would get cooked because the liquid is going to be boiling.
Right.
So it's not that it would take a long time to cook. Just my
I think I'm going to switch gears and try what Deb's doing, but I have bread that I want to use up. So I'm going to just pulse the bread in the food processor, but I'll mix it with the eggs. And I'll whisk the eggs in a bowl, put the pulsed breadcrumbs in, and cook it that way. Don't you love these recipes on the fly?
Yeah, we'll
what
see.
could possibly go wrong? Oh.
I just love the way no one in this group ever follows directions. It's a miracle that we get soup.
Right.
Lisa Gappa-Norris is quite a rule follower, and she follows instructions.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't? Oh, okay.
That is true. I do follow instructions. It's in my genetic nature to do that. But I will admit I did a whoopsie this week. In my rush last week to make up the shopping list, I went to the Do Kind Works website. I saw soup recipe. I wrote down the ingredients. I went to the grocery store and I bought the ingredients for the roasted red pepper corn salsa soup.
Well, it's a good one. So enjoy it.
So that's what I made this afternoon.
Okay.
So
Sounds
but
delicious.
follow the directions.
Yeah. See, Marge, she is a direction follower.
No, I already knew that, so I knew I knew the story. But everyone else will have a chance to do Deb's latest adaptation of that soup on November 7th. I will sadly miss that. I will be driving.
Yeah. So Lisa, just so you have I am going to simplify the corn salsa section of that soup and add chipotle, the adobo from the chipotle peppers can to my soup that I made yesterday. So we're going to do those two changes. We're just going to spice it with this because I felt like it needed more flavor. Did you?
What I did, yes, It was a little, it wasn't as robust as I
Yeah.
expected it to be, but I
Yeah.
added some adobo seasoning, some
Perfect.
adobo seasoning to
Yeah.
just spark it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm going for the medium taste range, so I don't know,
Yeah.
who will get the soup and what they'll really like. So
Yeah.
anyway, and then
Okay.
I threw the salsa on top and added some cilantro leaves
Beautiful.
to just perk it up the color.
To be pretty. Yeah. So, okay, what we're going to do on the 7th, though, is kind of like what you did and what I did with the adobo, but then just empty a bag of corn into your pot of soup. And you don't have to go through the frying of the separate stuff, I don't think. I'm sure yours is better and the original recipe is better for the day of serving, but I think this will be easy and still delicious.
One of my thoughts was I think frozen corn is better than canned corn. So
Okay.
I would add that because I
Okay.
think frozen corn tastes fresher
Yeah,
as opposed to canned corn. So that
perfect.
would be my suggestion.
Already in the recipe on November 7th. 1 bag of frozen corn.
So Deb, you said today you're adding the adobo?
Only because I opened it yesterday, I am. Instead of the smoked paprika, I'm chopping up a few of these.
How
Yeah.
many would you say? Like a couple?
2 or
Two.
3. Yeah,
Perfect.
2 or 3. Don't go too much because it's hot.
And Holly, then freeze, if you're not going to use them, freeze the rest because you'll use them again on November 7th.
Okay, very good. We
Although
may,
they
I may
last a
make-
pretty long time.
I may make some chili, so that'll be good. Okay, great.
So
And
Deb,
Deb, for when we add, if ever we add 2 or 3, is it the actual chilies or is it just the sauce from the chilies? Because I've made Chipotle, imitation recipes, like, online, and those Chipotles actually are quite hot. You might want to taste it after you do one. I mean, I guess the quantity is large enough of the soup, but they are definitely hot.
What about thickening the soup by just using the food processor to take a bunch of the cookies and whatever, and
I'm sorry, Marcia, I missed the beginning of the question.
what if you, instead of doing all these steps for the thickener, if you just weigh a couple of cups of the soup and add it back in? You think it misses the idea of the eggs and the bread?
If you do what with a couple of cups of soup?
Puree it, like you might do.
Oh yeah, thicken what's in there. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna get a very nice version. Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe
it might not be exactly the same as adding the bread in, but who cares, right?
We'll add the bread, and I guess the egg thickens it some more, but
Yeah.
I could go either way on that.
Just a comment. The
Yeah,
egg
I like
adds
that.
a bit of a protein source.
Yeah, but
so
these, it's
Yeah.
full.
yeah. Anyway, but that, I think the egg, just adds that, but then it's more appealing perhaps to people who can't have eggs, so that would work.
Yeah. And I think maybe you get more of a soup than a stew, although even when I made it the first time and I had the eggs and the bread in there, it still seemed like a soup to me. It wasn't, it didn't get to the thickness of a stew anyway.
We should each do it a different way, and then we can.
Yeah, compare and contrast. Just one note on the spices. I have I'm using the dried parsley, so I have that in simmering with the beans and everything now too. So if you have fresh parsley, you may want to wait till the end, like the recipe says. But if you have dried, you can go ahead and put that in there now. Well, I've got my egg and bread all ready to go. This is going to be interesting. What I'm wondering is if it's going to, if it's going to make little patties inside the soup, or if it's going to make little pieces. It'll be interesting to see, you know, because it's like almost what you would make like a fritter or something with. We'll find out.
Well, it doesn't make a fritter. I'm very relieved to report.
Oh, good. I didn't mean to scare you.
You did. And I thought I better ruin mine and not let Denise ruin hers. So I tried it. All you do is just like stir it with a fork as you're going in with it. And it just kind of dissipates. Yeah.
Good.
Although I think if it ever did sort of clump up, it would just be kind of like a dumpling, which would be quite tasty. There are like chicken dumpling soups and stuff.
True.
Deb, did it just dissolve into the soup?
As far as I can tell so far, all systems are good. I'm going in there with the ladle now to see what I can find. Oh yeah, no, it's perfect. Perfect.
Cool.
Does it
So is
look,
there any, oh, go ahead.
yeah, can you tell that it got thicker with it?
I think so. I'm going to try and show you guys what I'm doing. Tell me when you can see what's going on over here. Are we there?
Yep.
Okay. So I don't know. I only added 2 of the eggs and half of the breadcrumbs, but is this looking like it's supposed to look, Denise?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Well, then we're good.
Awesome.
It's a little thicker. It's a little thicker. I think maybe I'll try the other 2 eggs as long as I've committed to this, and it'll cook for a few minutes. So we'll see. Tastes good.
Good.
I'm going back on mute
Yeah.
because Sophie is having quite a time of it.
Okay. Yeah, I used the 4 eggs and I had an extra egg yolk in the fridge from a recipe yesterday. So that's going into.
Denise, the mortal and pestle reminds me, there's these videos, I've just seen them on Facebook. I think it's called Taste Life. And it's these videos of these sort of elaborate meals somewhere in sort of Eastern Europe, something. And, the woman goes out and she gathers the eggs and she gathers the vegetables from her garden. And they go and they like slaughter the lamb, and then they take the leg of lamb, and then they go to a mountain, and that the men like dig a pit and line it. It's this whole elaborate thing. And it's absolutely completely mouth-watering and extremely labor intensive. And
Wow.
just delicious looking. And I really like the idea of like a food processor and, you know, pre-minced garlic and all of that. But they
Yeah.
are really fun to watch because they're just beautifully made.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I know we have so many shortcuts that we can take advantage of, and it's awesome. But when you stop and think about what has to happen for even, you know, the processed food that we use for that garlic to get into the jar, you know, it's amazing. A lot of people work. So if we don't do the work, somebody else does, right?
Well, I was listening to you while I was cooking my dinner, and so I couldn't speak. But I wanted to say that I really like the idea. I have two conflicting views. I want to have chickens. I would love to have chickens. I know they're filthy, but chickens would be lovely. I had a friend that had them for the summer about, I guess the summer before COVID. You can rent chickens apparently in Montgomery County, and they come with their own coop, and it's wild and crazy, but they
What a
rented
good idea.
3 months. She has a fenced yard, so she could let the chickens sort of run loose. I can't do that. I don't have a fenced yard, but I like the idea of the fresh eggs. That's really kind of cool. On the other hand, what you were saying about these people who are doing this work, you know, I would hate to deprive the chicken farmers of their livelihood. So
That's true. That's a good way to look at it.
I'm conflicted, you know.
I just had a thought about the just doing immersion in the soup itself. And the only thought I had as I was counting my bay leaves is make sure that you pull the bay leaves out before you emulsify.
Absolutely. Good idea. If you haven't put any salt into your soup yet, now's a good time to check and see what you might need. And pepper. Did anyone put anything besides paprika? I know Deb did the chipotles. Anybody put any other herbs or spices in? I think you'll find it's pretty flavorful with just the paprika and then everything else that's in there.
I did not put in my chipotles, but I do have them, so I may. I'm going to taste it first.
Mm-hmm.
We probably, I don't know. I guess not knowing, I don't know. It's like you go to a restaurant and it's supposed to be authentically whatever, and it's watered down and, well, they did it for the people. I'm saying, no, I am the people. And could you please have some, put a little chili in here?
Yeah.
I'm debating just how far.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far off the rails, but
Yeah.
we'll see. It may just
You
be
can
for
always-
hours.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, if you're giving some away, you can always label it too.
Like spicy
A warning,
or
fair
yeah.
warning, yeah.
fair warning. Heads up.
Well, I chopped up 3 of them and I just added a little bit more flavor to mine. So it is not gonna, I don't think you're gonna be overwhelmed. I think it adds like a nice depth of flavor.
Yvonne, are you listening or are you doing something? Okay, so I wanted to talk about soup pickup. Were you in copy? Did I remember to copy you on that email that said we have a problem with soup pickup tomorrow? Unmute.
We're just gonna freeze it.
Okay, and save it for whenever.
Whatever date, the 25th or I don't know what you
Yeah,
said.
whenever, some future date.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, for the, okay, that works. Thank
That
you.
work?
Yeah.
All right. If I
And-
change my mind and decide to deliver it somewhere, I will let you know.
Okay. I mean, you
Okay.
can deliver it to any of the places on the site if you happen to have some urge to drive to Germantown.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Well, no, we're going to be out of town on election day. And it turns out that the board of elections or whatever, your local board of elections happens to be about 2 miles from the up county, whatever.
Drop off.
Yeah, I mean, I fully expected it to be in Rockville, but it's not. It's like up from Costco, up 355 from Costco. So,
Well, now that I'm not going to Lake Forest Mall anymore, the chances of me getting up there are like slim to nil.
yeah. Do you want to tell them about how devastating Lake Forest Mall looks?
Oh, well, you can tell them you were there. Wait, I got to read the thing. How many cups is this?
Lake Forest Mall has nothing in it, basically. The second floor, I believe, is completely empty. The first floor is partially empty. There are so few stores, and even
Macy's
some
is open.
of the stores that are there were closed up. And this was it was a Saturday afternoon. It was amazing to me. They had merchandise in them, but there was no one home.
What was the latest change at Lake Forest? Because I know stores have been leaving for a long time, but they didn't just lose their anchors, right?
I don't know, Yvonne would know more. What was there? Macy's was there. And Macy's, I think, was the only big store. Penny's is definitely gone. Lord and Taylor's certainly gone. I don't remember what the other anchor was. Was there may have been a Woody's or a Hex or something at one point.
Macy's is still there and still open.
And
Yeah.
that's it.
And there are like 10 other little smaller stores that are still open, including the beauty place, the nail eyebrow massage place. And I don't know what other stores, but Betsy, when she came in one of the theater people, she came in another door and she said she counted like 10 other stores in the entire mall that are open.
It was very frightening. It was, did someone buy it? Are they tearing it down? Was there a plan?
It's been bought by a developer and it's going to be mixed use, residential and retail. And I think they're putting in a movie theater and the whole ball of wax.
It'd be lovely to see that all revitalized.
Yeah, because it's scary there now.
It is.
Yeah, I
It's a
can
little
imagine.
creepy. Yeah, if you don't feel real safe walking around, it's just kind of
Yeah.
like, because you could turn a corner and there's no one there except for someone to jump you. Only there aren't even any criminals there. There's no one there. There's almost no one in the mall.
It's the
Maybe-
same at Friendship Heights. Both the Galleria and Chevy Chase Pavilion are
Empty.
Really?
absolutely empty. And I mean, there are a few here and there's, but I think what they're intending to do is completely repurpose them as residential, and because retail is like, it doesn't exist anymore.
Is Neiman Marcus still there?
No,
No. Oh.
nothing. The movie theater is gone.
Oh.
The only thing that's there is TJ Maxx.
Oh, very exciting.
Well, I was just at Tyson's, the main Tyson's, and it was packed with people. So that's your destination. I mean, even the other one, Tyson's 2, where the Ritz-Carlton is, they've put in some really interesting food stores and like a whole bowling alley. And it's kind of, like serving everybody's needs in the community now. So
Good.
you have to cross the river.
And
Oh,
give your taxes to Virginia. Is that what you're saying?
yeah. What's their situation with sales tax? I don't know.
I think it's the same as ours. I think it's up to 6%.
Honestly, for me, living close to the Beltway and the bridge, it's easier to go to Virginia than it is to go up to Rockville.
I agree with you. I agree.
Hop on and I'm off right there. So if there's no traffic, which is rare.
Except that now they're doing that work on Georgetown Pike, and I hear that that's a bit of a mess because they've got that partially closed, the overpass, and it creates backups. So,
true.
Yeah. My biggest problem
It's a mess.
Well, my biggest problem with Virginia, and I don't know if they changed this, is that they charge sales tax on groceries. I'm not talking about sodas. I'm talking about lettuce, everything had sales tax on it. And they talked about removing that, but I don't know if that's happened because I don't work in Virginia anymore. So
I've got about 4 more minutes and then I'm going to be adding my egg and bread mixture. Is anybody, didn't mean to ditch you guys on the actual recipe. Is anybody doing the fried eggs and fried baguettes with the, all right, Betsy, any questions or are you just gonna?
Oh, no, I'm so far
see what
behind all
happens?
of you. I just put the bread in and I'm using my kind of the bowl for my immersion blender as in place of the mortar and pestle, which is too small to accommodate this. So, but I thank whoever said that there were eggs left over in their fridge from a recipe because I found some for mine too.
Good.
may I see that again, Betsy? Can you lift your eggs so we can see them? Lift it and hold it. So that's what's in there now? Eggs and the bread?
And garlic.
And garlic.
And the bread is getting crispy and oily and garlicky, which sounds like wonderful in and of itself. So
that's right. Who needs to make soup? Just eat the bread.
And you fried your eggs?
Yes.
Do I toast my baguette?
Yeah, that is a step in the recipe. So I imagine even though it's going into the soup, it does change the texture a bit. I was debating whether I should do that before I mixed it in with my whisked up eggs, but I didn't do that this time.
Wouldn't it be easier to mix in if you toasted it because of the texture? I mean,
well, it mixed up fine. You mean easier to mix into the soup?
No, mix into the mortar and pestle step. Because otherwise bread gets kind of doughy and little.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very I'll show you. This isn't very pretty, but let's see if I can show you. This is what I've got for egg and bread right now. I mean, it's pretty homogeneous, but
yeah, no, that looks good. Looks kind of mushed.
Oh, can I see it? I was looking at the recipe.
Sure.
Oh,
okay.
It's a paste.
I mean, it's definitely lumpy, but it's going to be
and what
very
is that?
interesting.
It's the egg and the garlic?
Egg and breadcrumbs. I did fresh breadcrumbs.
Oh, okay. Instead of frying the baguette thing with the egg and the garlic thingy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
I love how
may regret
precise
not
we are
toasting
with
them,
our
but...
language.
Yeah. All right, got one more minute left for simmering, so I'm finding my bay leaves. There's always one that wants to hide, isn't there? The soup pot is not that big. Where could it be? Ah, here we go. All right, now the moment of truth. Deb, you said you kind of whisked it in a little at a time.
I just used a fork and put some in
A fork.
and just took the fork
Okay.
and stirred it around and no problem. All good.
I'm gonna use your technique.
Denise, I'm going to mute you for a minute. I think Salma wants to talk for a minute.
Sure.
Salma, you want to say hi? Salma made this recipe earlier today and sent Denise and me a picture of it, and hers was beautiful. It was Lisa worthy. You can't hear us, Salma? You're on mute, but I don't know what. Oh, she's all right. She's going to log in again because she was going to tell you all about what most of you know about, but I don't know about if everybody does. And that is upcoming World Kindness Day on November 13th. We're going to cook that week on Sunday instead of on Monday. But she'll be on in a minute. And I'm going to find her picture because it was beautiful. And it shows you the finished soup. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Don't comment on how bad my desktop is. I just want to show you Salma's picture of her soup. Let's see.
Hi there.
Hold on one second. I'm bringing the picture of your soup up.
Oh.
Maybe. Let's see. Can you see that? Isn't that lovely?
Oh.
So mine has much more chunks of things in mine than yours, Salma.
Because Deb, this is a variation of the recipe. So I went to the original, what is it called? Spain on a Fork, wherever this.
Yep.
And there were 3 or 4 different varieties of this chickpea stew. So I kind of mixed and matched the recipe on our site with a few things that I saw there. So it's a little bit different. Like it doesn't have the hard-boiled egg thing going on. But what it has is, and what gave it amazing flavor was, what's it called? Fire roasted tomatoes. And one other thing. So yeah, no, I just played around with it earlier.
Oh, good.
So I just wanted to mention to everybody here, as I think you probably all know, but I'll just emphasize again that November 13th is something called a World Kindness Day. Who knew that there was a day devoted to kindness? But it's a wonderful thing, and we thought we would take advantage of this special day and do something to spread kindness and use it as a special day to make our KindSoup and engage as many people as we possibly can in this soupathon that we've got going on. So I would love to, of course, encourage all of you to join, and we would love for you to bring your friends, invite your family, get different groups that you're involved in, let them know about it. We've got an amazing flyer that we've put together, and we can put that in the chat maybe, or share it with you all. It's an easy way to share the date, the details, the the link to get more information. And we just like to get as many people, I mean, as many as 100 or 200 or more to join us, especially on that day, November 13th. It's a Sunday. We're going to make soup, but like we do every week. But we'll do it on that Sunday, the 13th, from 4 to 5. We've got a soup recipe that we've picked out, which is the lemon orzo delicious white bean soup, which we've made before. And Dominique will lead the soup making effort. And I think it'll be really fun. We'll share some stories about kindness, what's been, one of the kindest things somebody has done for you, or what is something kind that you've done. So just a way to share some stories, commemorate the special day, which is so special to us at KindWorks, and just spread some joy, spread some kindness, and spread some soup. So I hope you all will come, and I really hope that you'll let your friends know. It's a great way to spend an hour together in community, doing good, sharing stories, having fun, and feeling nourished in so many ways. If you're part of different faith organizations, or your kids are part of sports teams or Boy Scout clubs or anything else, please just share the flyer with them and encourage them to join, share your experience cooking soup every week, and let's see how many people we can get to join us. And we're hoping that this will become an annual event for us, sort of one of our key inspiration days, as we like to call it. We've hosted inspiration days every year where we have inspiring storytelling, and this we thought we'd coin inspiration. So just wanted to make a plug for that.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I think it's great, and I'm going to try my best to join, and I will ask people, but I wanted to comment that after my first Monday cooking, I had to, for a short film that I'm in, I was in with a very prominent Washington actress, Nancy Robinette, and I had to write a bio for the promotional stuff. So the producer asked me to do that. And in these types of bios, you put something personal and like, what do you like to do? And I put in my plug for KindSoup.
Oh, good.
So,
that's great.
so I'm hoping, I'm hoping that I can spread the word through all the folks who came to see the show and other folks that I happen to know. But I thought that would be cool to see on in their marketing material for the film.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
And Nancy Robinette, wow, you're working with the highliners.
Yeah, I didn't know who would know, but yeah, that was, for me, that was the icing on the cake.
She's hysterical. She's wonderful.
I told the director, I said, I would, before I got cast, and I said, look, you don't have to cast me, just let me come down and, I can give her coffee or tea or whatever. She's just a wonderful human being, and an enormous talent. So anyway, I'm very happy with that.
That's great.
That is great.
Deb, you'll be amused. I've added garbanzo.
I'm quarter and pestling. Let's see what happens.
I've added garbanzo beans to the pepper soup. After the puree, I added the 2 cans of garbanzos, and now I'm going to do that topping thing again. Because I think the salsa was good, but I also added some paprika, so that's kind of a good thing.
I mean, I did do the corn salsa and I liked it. I just thought it isn't, for the next round, just putting the corn in will be enough. But
right, it's true.
Yeah.
Make it easy for these people who don't normally cook with us. These people who, like my mother, when my mother first got married, she called a neighbor and said, how many spaghettis do I have to do? I can see my mom counting those spaghettis. She's
that's too funny.
Not the best chef.
Right. What do you think, Denise?
Yeah, I hope everybody's happy with their various methods. I really like this one. It's almost like teeny tiny little dumplings. I like it.
Yours did kind of stay more solid, that it didn't just dissipate throughout the soup?
Right, yeah, definitely little
Oh,
chunks. Here,
I
I'll, that's funny. Let me get you a picture of the pot.
Denise, you didn't puree it? You didn't use your blender before
I
you
did
put all
not.
the other stuff in?
Well, no, what I did was I used the food processor for the breadcrumbs. So that's what you can see here is maybe either a chickpeas or the breadcrumbs. So it's quite, yeah, just little lumps there. But people might wonder what they are, but they're delicious.
Good.
So I like it.
You just write that on the label. They're delicious.
Yeah. Close your eyes and eat it.
So if people don't want to get that, one other way to do this is to take some of the liquid out of the soup and puree it with the breadcrumb egg mixture and make a puree of that so that the mixture doesn't cook itself into droplets. It's just another way of doing it with a different, maybe different outcome.
I
So
like
smart.
that.
Yeah.
I have to try that next time. Good. I see we are almost at time. Does anybody have any last questions before we head out?
Yeah, I put
I
about
hope you all are. What's that, Marcia?
I put about a quart of the soup into the food processor and put it back in it. You know, the pot of soup is so big that a quart doesn't really make. So it's a little bit more substantive, but that didn't work. But it's vegan, so I figure we'll just leave it like that.
Yeah. Okay. That
Can
sounds
you
like it's
just
gonna be delicious.
describe, can you describe how you added the paste in? Was it like, did you break it up? You said you added some of the soup to the paste so that it wasn't clumpy. Is that a good plan?
What's that with my version?
Yeah, yeah, just how to add the paste in.
Yeah, so I had pretty chunky breadcrumbs from the processor and mixed that in with the eggs. And then like Deb had said, I put it in a little bit at a time and I used a fork. So there were no really big pieces. Yeah, so just put it in maybe 8 or 9 different batches and use the fork each time. So there's, yeah, the biggest pieces are like the size of whatever breadcrumb I used. Yeah.
Okay, and it thickens up nicely afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It's definitely a different texture. I mean, it's still, I would say it's still soup and not stew, but it does thicken it up and gives it a very different texture too.
Very good. Thank you.
I hope you guys like it with whatever you did. Thank you for all the creativity and the different ideas.
I want to see what it looks like with my just egg.
Yeah.
Vegan. Let's see.
Awesome. Oh, are you about to do it now?
I'm doing it now.
Oh, we have to see this. We got to see this.
The mortar and pestle, you get like a paste. With the garlic goes into like a paste. All right, let's see. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if you wait. What it looks like.
All right, looks like scrambled eggs.
Yeah. I think I'm going to put panko though instead of the baguette because in order to get breadcrumbs, I would really have to put it in the food processor. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is
like work.
Well, this is baguette chopped up. So
yeah, you'll have, as long as you're happy with one of those on a spoon,
Okay,
and they will get a little more condensed.
okay, I may chop it a
soup.
little more. Thank you.
Everybody going away?
We can't until we see what yours looks like, Yvonne.
Oh, when I put it in, let me get my panko.
Lisa can't go till she answers my question. Did you see my question? Am I gonna see you tomorrow morning was the question. Is anyone coming?
I don't know how many to put in, so I'm just gonna dump it in.
Yes. Orange,
I love it.
This is peasant food, and you don't measure peasant food,
That's right. That's right.
If this is all you had in the cabinet, this is all that went in there, so.
Absolutely.
All right, well,
That's
it
the
looks
spirit.
like cornmeal.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Did I put it in?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Actually, put the soup in the pan and then pour it in the soup in the big pot. It looks fine. It didn't come out like scrambled eggs. So I guess it's good, no?
Good.
All right.
I don't know what it's supposed to look like, but
Good.
Looks very nice. Yeah, you didn't get any lumps or anything, right?
no lumps. Yeah, but it
Right.
looks so light compared to everybody else's. No?
Light in color.
Yeah.
Mine kind of got much more orangey after I put the egg and bread in too.
Oh, okay.
More
Oh, all right.
orangey than red. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
All right.
That's it.
Everybody enjoy. Denise, thank you
Thank
so
you all,
much.
Denise, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you
Be
all. It was a lot
well.
of fun.
Everybody have a good
Enjoy it.
week.
Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.